I've just examined.
I'll just brief what we are going to do. We'll be asking him as he have examined a patient and now he is going to present his finding. Let's assume that you have examined a patient with mitral stenosis. So just give your finding, just pulse and precordium, because last time we have discussed that how to go about with pulse and precordial examination. But today I want you to whether you have made some template to describe the things or not. Let's assume your patient is a middle-aged male. So a middle-aged male with now features of mitral stenosis. Just describe.
Okay, thank you. I have just examined a patient, a male gentleman who is apparently looking comfortable and has consented for the examination. The patient has, on inspection, the patient has got no visible pulsation over the precordium and
Let's
is not.
hold here. Last time we told you that don't give these headings, that on palpation, on inspection. What you have to do, you have to really conclude all the things together, but your presentation sequence should be in a way that it should be starting with findings of inspection, restarting.
Okay. I have just examined a male gentleman who has consented and is quite cooperative during the examination, is apparently looking comfortable. He has got no visible pulsation over the precordium and is not in respiratory distress with respiratory rate around 18. There is no scar or visible pulsations and chest is moving symmetrically with the breathing. The apex beat is localized in the fifth intercostal space, that is non-sustained. There is parasternal heave, thrill and palpable second heart sound.
What kind of apex beat do you get in mitral stenosis classically?
Non-forced
Taping apex beat.
tapping.
So since I haven't, but it sometimes so happen you can have a normal apex beat when your first heart sound is not loud, and that happens with what? When in MS you don't have not a loud first heart sound. Calcification. Once your valve lost their pliability, then that first heart sound wouldn't be loud. So it's possible that in MS you can have a sound which isn't loud. But in classical MSs, I haven't given any clue towards anything. I was expecting the finding of classical MS. So classical MS finding is an apex beat which has a character of taping. Normally placed apex beat with taping characteristic. Restart. We'll doing these interruption just for sake of learning. That we should learn every step. Otherwise, a good thing that first he should be completing his findings. But this is a rehearsal kind of thing. So and that he will remember for rest of his life these hiccups.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. I've just examined a male gentleman who has consented and is quite comfortable during the examination, and the patient has got no visible pulsation over the chest, no scar, and chest is moving symmetrically with breathing with a respiratory rate around 18. The apex beat is localized in the fifth intercostal space, that is tapping in character. He has got
apex beat localized in
fifth intercostal space.
Where is the horizontal landmark? How many centimeter from the midline? So when you are describing apex beat, you have to put both landmarks, vertical as well as horizontal.
The apex beat is localized in the fifth intercostal space, that is 8 cm from the mid-sternal line, that is tapping in character with parasternal heave, thrill and palpable second heart sound.
Parasternal heave and thrill. Thrill where? You have to describe that as well. Thrill where?
Thrill at the left lower sternal border.
So in MS, would you get a thrill at lower left sternal border?
Tricuspid regurgitation.
Tricuspid regurgitation is between two low pressure chambers, RV and RA, and you rarely get a thrill of tricuspid regurgitation. If you're getting a thrill at left lower sternal border, that means VSD. It's commonly with VSD because it's between LV and RV, one high and one low pressure chamber. Thrill you will always going to found when your murmur is across two very high or low pressure difference chambers. Aortic stenosis give you a thrill because LV and aorta, a high pressure gradient created by that murmur, that give you a thrill. So TR usually don't give you thrill, but I personally think never give you thrill, even not usual.
Okay. I have examined a young male gentleman who is
Now you can start from your rest of the finding where we stopped.
okay. There is parasternal heave, no thrill and palpable second heart sound. The patient has got
This is consistent with MS. A palpable second heart sound, left parasternal heave, because left parasternal heave is denoting what? Pulmonary artery hypertension and RV enlargement, which is secondary to mitral stenosis. So things started with a palpable first heart sound, which is taping, the positive findings of MS. Then you have a left parasternal heave. That means this patient along with MS is having pulmonary artery hypertension and RV enlargement. And that is again further validated with palpable second heart sound. Now your findings are logical and consistent with MS. What else?
first heart sound is loud. Pulmonary component of the second heart sound is also loud, and there is mid diastolic murmur at the apical area that is of grade 3/6, accentuated on expiration, especially making the patient in left lateral position.
Now, when you are saying, since we made a case with a palpable first heart sound which is taping, now assume you will get an opening snap with it. If your first heart sound is not loud, your first apex beat is not taping, then it's rare to found opening snap, which is again related to pliability of the valve. So if you are getting a classical taping apex beat, opening snap will be there. These two are things which are consistent with each other. So along with murmur, you may get an opening snap as well in mitral stenosis.
First heart sound is loud. Pulmonary component of the second heart sound is also loud. Opening snap is also audible with a mid diastolic murmur at the apical area that is of grade 3/6, accentuated on expiration, especially in the left lateral position in expiration. The
Or you can say best heard in left lateral position, because sometimes you do validate it in listening, making your patient left lateral as well.
there is also a pansystolic murmur at the left lower sternal border that is of grade 3/6, accentuated on inspiration and radiating to the right
This
sternal
is
margin.
again a clue from your palpation. If you are getting a parasternal heave and a loud P2, judge yourself, you may get a murmur of tricuspid regurgitation. Even mild murmur, but it will be there, because these two findings are giving a clue RV dilatation and a loud P2 pulmonary artery hypertension, then you assume some leak during systole from RV to RA. So whenever you're getting these palpatory findings, assume that you will get murmur of tricuspid regurgitation.
The
I
pulse
think we can stop here. We'll discuss discussion later on. You can stop the video.